Whoa, welcome to Hot Takes with Chedda Chaz, but there's no hand holding. We deal with facts, not emotion. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification if you haven't already. Shout out to Miller Lite, DraftKings, and Topo Chico. You guys should support them because they support us. Y'all know when I do like the screen in screen, shit about to get real. Y'all, it's never nothing good when I gotta review the old footage. It's never nothing good. Oh, but I do got some good news for you. Remember I was talking about that Jaguar I sent back? I went and got the Lex dog. Went got that Lex dog. Went got it. I mean, I never showed y'all the picture of the footage of the Jag. I'm gonna show y'all that at some point in this video. A couple people asked me about it. Y'all be like, "Are you in that Jag?" I'm like, I sent it back immediately. I take a free one though if Jaguar listening. But yeah, all that to say, Pelicans they fall to the Magic again, similar to the first game. Even though I think this time they had an opportunity to make the game interesting. They got the lead down to 7. Even with the Phoenix game, like the Pelicans really only lost that first quarter. The final 3 quarters, they had an opportunity to make the game interesting. Some of it was just stubbornness from the coaching staff to not lean into more offensive centric lineups. In my opinion, the thing that really bothered me the most about the Magic game in particular is that it's like, yo, cuz you not like stopping them with this defensive lineup. You might as well just go ahead and put your shooters out there and give yourself a chance on offense. With Brandon being out, your best bet was to change your style of play and lean into a 5-out offense. I know that's what I presumed. Like maybe not Matt Ryan so much, but I thought you would at least see some Hawkins like minutes often. Like you can't not play a motherfucker for weeks and months and just throw him out there and expect him to succeed. He needs time to get into his rhythm, et cetera, et cetera. And you saw like some weird shit. Like you saw Jordan Hawkins for like 60 seconds in the second quarter, one game. You saw Matt Ryan for like 30 seconds in the fourth quarter, another game. It's like, look, any team guarding Zion, even throughout the regular season, they're going to build a wall. It's like Giannis. Any like officiating staff due to Zion style of play and things like that, they're not going to give him any calls. And you don't have a coaching staff that advocates on Zion's behalf. And he's not like super duper demonstrative like a Draymond, where he's going to advocate a lot for himself. Shout out to Herb Jones and other guys who were advocating yesterday for themselves and for the rest of the team, because Willie Green ain't going to do it. We'll talk about that another time. But yeah, so your best option is to play 5 out, go heavily offensive. I said that on the show one time. Like I would just go all the way offense. They haven't done that. They went in the total opposite direction. You've seen lineups with Zion Williamson, Najee Marshall, Dyson Daniels, Larry Nance, and like maybe Herb Jones. Like, this random line. It's like, yo, and a lot of these lineups, you'll have Dyson or Larry on the same side where Zion is posting up. That's giving the Dyson or Larry defender free reign to crash onto Zion. Like you saw it all the time in that Bucks game that they managed to win. You saw it all the time in the Phoenix game. You saw it in both Orlando games, and there's been no adjustment by the coaching staff. Like no adjustment. You haven't even seen the Matt Ryan or Jordan Hawkins experiment putting those guys in that position. Pause. You haven't even seen that fail. You haven't even given that a chance to fail. But like you just been stubborn with this shit that isn't working. It hasn't worked all season. It hasn't worked all season. Even when this team was healthy, the team is 0-5 when healthy against these same opponents that they've lost to recently, with the exception of Milwaukee. And they beat OKC in the third, fourth game of the season, but that was without Brandon. So without Brandon, it's just weird. Like it's real weird. It makes no sense that they haven't adjusted to this point, right? So let's get into the video. Check this out. This is what I said the other day. I got a little bit of heat from this, but I don't get no fucks. But let's hear it. Like it's gonna be tough play. And you're going to get to see what this team is made of. You get this team is made to succeed over these next 10 or so games. They haven't been. It's a lot of questions for you. If they aren't able to succeed in these next 10 or so games. This was following the Cavaliers game. Don't say I didn't warn y'all what was about to happen. This don't say I didn't warn y'all. I told you this after the Cavs games. Lakers, like it's gonna be tough sledded. and you're going to get to see what this team is made of. And if this team is able to succeed over these next 10 or so games, then it's going to answer a lot of questions for you. If they aren't able to succeed in these next 10 or so games, that to me, that provides, I think it's going to give a simplistic answer, but not necessarily the right answer. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to give you a simplistic answer like, well, we were injured and that's why it happened. But it's like, no, you're 0-18 in the clutch all season. Like, people be talking about, oh, that those Clippers wins. Now, I think one of them, maybe two of them shits was cool. Shout out to Jay. But yeah, like, but the last game, no Russell Westbrook, no James Harden, and I believe there also was on the second night for back-to-back, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken with that. First Cavaliers game, no Evan Mobley. I think he had some kind of knee injury. No Garland. I think he had broke his jaw or something. No Spider. No no Donovan Mitchell. Man, there's so many examples you can point to where, like, okay, you play the Raptors. No Scotty Barnes. RJ Barrett's brother had just passed, if I'm not mistaken, during that matchup. They're gonna play the Spurs this upcoming game, and it won't be any Devin Vassell, and I think Jeremy Sohan is out. And not Spurs ain't like a good team, but I'm just saying, especially considering you'll never have the coaching advantage going into any matchup. You're starting every matchup out as a deficit from the coaching perspective. And that being the case, you're gonna have to battle back and overcome that. It's 6-on-5 every time the Pelicans play. 6-on-5. And if you're having a rough officiating night, it's 9 on fucking 5. I think there's 3 referees, right? It's 9 on 5. So, like last night, terrible officiating game, one of the worst officiating games I've seen, especially this season, but they've all been bad, right, for the most part. 9 on 5. You don't have a coach that's going to adjust to what's happening on the court. You don't really have the personnel necessarily, or you're not putting the personnel in position to succeed and to, adjust to what's happening on the court. And you have referees that are calling the game just outrageously. And you also have a head coach that doesn't advocate for his players, who can kind of sway the referees to give them a more fair whistle. It's a recipe for disaster, and it's been happening all season against good teams. It's been happening all season against good teams. And it's really unfortunate because the guys worked really hard to get in this position. Willie Green as well. I'm sure Willie Green put in a ton of hours, to get in this position to where they control their own destiny toward the end of the season. But I mean, look at what's happening. Like, CJ McCollum's playing 40 plus minutes every fucking night. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. At his age, it's ridiculous. Like, he shouldn't be put in that position. You should have Jordan Hawkins or Matt Ryan out there carrying some of the load, because you're down one guy. Dyson is just coming back from injury. CJ McCollum is getting up there in age, and Zion is already not getting a fair whistle. You see how the defense is covering them. Why aren't you adjusting to what's actually happening out there? It's crazy, man. I got another clip for y'all. Bear with me. Hold on 1 second. I told y'all, when I got to break these motherfucking clips out, something wrong. Something that went awry. Check this out. And pointed out, it was just a lot of defensive mishaps, a lot of miscommunications, and that's something we've all been. Boy, this shit like the Twilight Zone. You got a video of me watching a video of a dude who kind of like me, which is the awful coaching dude. He's similar to me in some ways. Hold on. Witnessing this entire season, it just only burns them against really good teams. And they've been able to kind of pull off some games in the clutch against bad teams, but more often than not, the Pelicans have been burned against good teams. They just seem to go back to their old habits when they play against upper competition, and it's something to be concerned about, because again, towards the end of this year, you got the Bucks again, if I'm not mistaken. You got Phoenix again. You got the Lakers. You got Boston. They 1-3. No, I'm sorry, 1-2 so far against those teams. They beat Milwaukee, great victory. They should have beat OKC too. I already spoke about that. Pissed about that. They beat the Bucks already. Good win. They lost to Phoenix, of course. They lost to Boston. And the wild part is, when healthy, 100% healthy, the Pelicans were 0-3 versus those teams already. So this isn't like a healthy excuse. I'm not giving this team any excuses whatsoever. You were bad against good teams when you were healthy, and you bad against the motherfuckers now. Nothing has changed. You're bad against good teams.
The thrill and excitement of March Mania is here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps, is giving new customers a shot to turn $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets with any college basketball bet. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BOOT. New customers can bet $5 to get $150 instantly in bonus bets, only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code BOOT. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/promos for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
If I'm not mistaken, you got a lot of tough matchups, and you're gonna have to, at some point, you're gonna have to start beating these teams when the odds are about even. You're gonna have to show that you're on par with these teams. You're gonna have to show that you're at least for some competitive efforts. You know what I'm saying? It's just I don't know at this point, but at the end of the day, you take any wins you can get. If you do happen to play those teams and then listen, guys, you're gonna take the victories. You'll worry about the context in the offseason or in the playoffs, but it is something. I'm at a stage, for me personally, I don't care about the process no more.
Fuck it.
Like, once people start getting hurt and shit, you just
Fuck it.
Wins. You just want to say wins. You'll worry about addressing the process and addressing the team shortcomings in the offseason. The trade deadline is over. You're not signing any free agents. Ain't no buyout candidates coming here. This is the team. Yo, and you know what's funny? And this has never been addressed. I don't know anyone who's addressed this in like Pelicans media. I know we talked about it on our show though. Their whole pitch for not doing anything at the trade deadline was that they expected a bunch of buyout market candidates to come here. They're like, oh, well, we're going to be active in the buyout market. It's like, that shit never really happens. Like, that never happens. Buyout candidates typically go to the same teams when they go anywhere, but that's not a fucking plan. That's not a plan. You had major flaws on this roster that you needed to address. You should not have gone into the season with this roster as is. If you wanted to evaluate Brandon and Zion, that's one thing. That's one thing. But you already knew your center position was fucked up. This is information you had. So you doing this now is crazy. You have this is the coaching staff you have. So for me, it's all about just winning. Just win. Just win. Chris said on the show last night, there's nothing more any of us can say. Me especially, it's like, I said Brandon needs to shoot more threes. He's not doing it. He's not gonna do it. So it's like, okay, whatever. Not gonna do it. Said, not gonna do it. Zion needs to kind of just be a bit more dominant. He ain't doing it. He's doing it a little bit, but it's still not to the level that I think we all needed to be because y'all do more. Zion, the standard has to be an MVP candidate. Gotta be. It has to be his standard. Gotta be. For Brandon, the standard has to be a guy who's worked upwards of $40+ million. Gotta be. That has to be the standard. That gotta be the bar. Gotta be. And so far, you haven't seen that consistently, especially not against good teams. Facts. 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 Yo, check out this fucking stat here. Check out this motherfucking stat right here. Like, I want y'all to look at these numbers. Look at these numbers. And this is wild healthy. Don't let motherfuckers convince y'all that something would be different if this team was healthy. Maybe if they had another coach and they were healthy, it would be different. I don't doubt that at all. But look at these numbers. And this is wild healthy. Pelicans are 0-21 in the clutch. That's the makers of a team that doesn't know how to finish. That's the makers of a front-running team. They have 29 blown leads, 11 blown fourth-quarter leads, 13 blown double-digit leads. And this is with Zion and Brandon playing 54 games together. Pelicans are 3-4 since Brandon went down with his injury. God, bless him. Hopefully he's recovering okay. They won against Miami. They won against Milwaukee, who they lost to previously when healthy. They lost against Phoenix, OKC, Boston. They beat Detroit, and they lost against Orlando last night. Against those teams, those same teams, when they were healthy with Brandon, they're 0-5. They lost to all of those teams while they were healthy. It's fucking ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. The Pelicans have the benefit of being in a small market, so there aren't a lot of eyes on the product. If people were paying, a lot of attention to this, it would be ugly. It would get real ugly. It would get real ugly publicly. Locally, people's afraid. Like, they don't want to lose access. They don't want to, it's something for them to like do, I guess. Like, some people, this is some people's career. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some people want to pursue this field. I'm just a motherfucker on the internet who be talking. I do this in my free time. Like, I'm just a person who started off watching the team. I'm from New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans too. I ain't from, I just kind of do it, for fun, I guess. Like, you know what I'm saying? But to the people who actively pursuing, goals in this field, they they probably afraid to kind of push the issue. They probably afraid to ask Willie Green certain questions like, yo, why aren't you doing this? They probably afraid to say, yo, why dude don't never speak in the post game? Or why didn't this guy come into camp in shape? Like, it's probably a delicate tightrope that they have to walk so they don't get in trouble or they don't anger certain people in this industry. So in closing, Pelicans in trouble. The Pelicans in trouble. But the crazy thing is, they've been in trouble since the offseason. They've been in trouble this entire time. People were just blinded because they managed to have a good result, but they ignored all of the red flags. They ignored everything. It's like I mentioned this on the show last night. Like in that Phoenix game, I think Zion had 30 points. Okay, cool. He still underachieved in that game. He underachieved. By his standard, he underachieved. He should have done more. I don't care who was out. He should have done more. CJ, 36 points last night. By his standard, he should have done more. Should have done more. Brandon, this whole season, should have done more. Like, he should have done more. Willie Green, as flawed as this roster is, your record shows that you have enough talent to be more successful than you have been. And this season, your record shows that you clearly, these guys are good enough for you to win some motherfucking games. Clearly, you had all the injury luck in the world. You had all the schedule luck in the world. Like, clearly, these guys are adequate enough for you to win games. And you just haven't won enough. You've underachieved. As good as this season has been for the coaching staff, for the organization, et cetera, and the season ain't over yet, so it could take a turn. They still underachieved. Right? And I saw a couple of comments yesterday, and it's like, oh, you definitely could have used your 20-point. Like, when can you not fucking use 20 points, right? But you use your 20-point score. Guys, context and nuance is incredibly important. It's incredibly important. Like, if I didn't do these videos, I really wouldn't bother like explaining it to people or trying to break it down. Since I do these videos, I have to, provide some context and provide some nuance. Let's talk about how Brandon was playing in March heading into this final stretch of games. In Brandon's last 10 games or so, is that 10? Yeah, 10 games prior to his injury, Brandon was averaging 16 points, 2 turnovers, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. He was shooting 31% from 3, 76% from the free throw line. He had a true shooting percentage of 57%. That's not bad. That's in 30 minutes played. That's it's pretty bad. He was taking 2 3-point attempts a game. That's not good, bro. Like, that's not good. It's tough to face the reality of the situation, but he just wouldn't have made a difference. And to be honest, I don't know if Brandon is here. I don't know if you get those games in what do we play? I don't know if you get those games in Phoenix down to 7.8 points, whatever they got the margin down to. I don't know if in OKC, I don't know if you ever recaptured the lead against OKC with Brandon. Versus Orlando, we've been getting stumped out for years versus Orlando. Versus the Celtics, I believe Willie Green is 0-6 versus the Celtics his entire coaching career. It's like, what difference would Brandon have made? Like, recently, the only times you've beaten the Phoenix Suns in the regular season, if you want to go back to last year, was without Brandon. So it's not really a poor reflection on Brandon. It's just like, yo, something is broken in the organization. Like it's starting from the top down. So I'm not really, I mean, that's something cool to tell yourself. That's like how we tell ourselves, well, you know, if they had Zion in that playoff series, things would have been different. It's like, well, the Suns didn't have, even though that shit a couple years ago, we really should stop talking about that. But the Suns didn't have Devin Booker neither. So if they had Devin Booker all of the games, the Pelicans probably get swept. And this organization, this team probably looks a lot different right now. So it's just the reality of the situation, man. But anyway, that's been today's show. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification if you haven't already. Yo, check this out. Check this out. Let me show y'all the car real quick, man. I know I was telling y'all about this damn car for a while now, but check this out. Yo, so I just got this joint, and I hate it. Hated it. I hated it. Like, I'm super tall, but I can barely fit in this shit. All right, so I'm 6 foot, right? I felt like, you know, I was in a motherfucking toy car or something. I feel like I was in a Tonka truck. Couldn't move whatsoever, dog. Couldn't move whatsoever. I just couldn't stand it. Like, I can barely do it. Like I'm claustrophobic when I'm in this car. I'm sending this shit right back. Them motherfucking red seats was hard though, pause. Them red seats was fire. No. And I hate it. Hold on. There was a couple things I liked about it. Was a couple things I liked about the car. I like way more about this Lexus. But I'm gonna see. I might grow to hate this. I like the car. Like once you shift it, you can just press the button and then go to park. That was cool. That's the only feature I really like. Now that was cool. That was cool. I ain't gonna lie. I had never seen that before, and that impressed me. Not enough to keep that motherfucker, but that impressed me. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the Pelicans record. It's kind of like the Pelicans record. You know, it impressed me, but again, not enough to keep that motherfucker.